Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Arlen Podcast. I'm your host, Eli Detter. We are here in the studio today with David Ennis, who is returning yet again. We're happy to have David back on here.
Hello.
And what we want to, first before we hop into this discussion, I just want to thank you all for taking the time that it takes to, taking the time out of your day just to be with us, listen to this podcast, and hopefully you're gaining some sort of clarity or you're learning something about yourself while you listen. Obviously, like I say before, a lot of times, the podcast and everything about this is not meant to, it's not meant to come across as though we are experts on anything we say. Simply, we're speaking from our own experiences and what we've seen from the world and what we've experienced. So just keep that in mind, and then we're just going to hop into the topic. Specifically, I want to talk about how our value is determined in the world we live in. Because there's very different things that people define value as. Some people define value as, how much money we have or how much we possess. Some people define our value by what we do or what we say. And I don't know if there's really a right or wrong way to define value. David, what do you think? What is the real proper way to define our value as people?
Well, from my standpoint, when I first, hear the word value, I think of, money. How much money do you have? So as a value of a person, based off of money. But that's not always the case in value. Maybe it's the way you act, like you said, So I like to base it on, personality.
Yeah.
And how you are as a person. Are you wicked and cruel, or do you try to uplift others?
Yeah.
So the more value you have, the more I look up to you.
Yeah, and it's interesting because, people always say, your value changes over time. People will look for different things. People will look up to you for different reasons over time. And it's like you said, if we're looking at money, yes, we can easily define someone's worth from their money, whether you have as much money as this person does or not. But it's not always so easy when we're talking about, like you said, personality. It's not always so easy to figure out what is the personality needed in the situation? What is the personality? Some personalities might have more worth in or more value in certain situations than other. If you're in a high stress situation and this person who kind of has a pretty depressing personality, they're kind of negative. They're not old, or they're just way too serious. They're not always the one that you need in that time. Sometimes you might need the person that is able to lift the spirits and get people to smile and laugh and it's just really interesting when you look at when people say, "Oh, you're not valued here. You're not really worth as much here as you are somewhere else." I mean, on one hand,
everybody's valuable. Let's not get it twisted.
Right. Yeah. Like in no way is someone not valuable, but in certain situations, one person might have more value to add to that situation than another. And that's something that we all have to recognize and respect and realize that not always are our personalities necessary in every situation.
Yeah.
Have you ever been in a situation where you felt your value or your worth wasn't what you thought it was going to be, or you just felt like you weren't being valued enough?
Yeah, many times, especially when I'm sick, that could get to your mind too. Like you're in your bed all day, you feel like, oh, I can't do anything, man. Mm-hmm. Like you feel pretty crappy.
Yeah.
And that could deface your value a lot.
Yeah.
But once you have somebody who's right for the moment, like you said, who's valuable in that moment to lift you back up, then you're ready to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I often feel I think it's also very common, and I felt this too, that when you succeed at something big or when you achieve something big, you expect people to automatically think you're more valuable or more, more worth something. And sometimes it's not really going to change what they think, because they're like, oh, that was just a one-time thing. That was just a lucky experiment. That was just, you got lucky. And I hate the word luck with a passion.
Yeah, I don't believe in luck.
I don't believe in luck. I don't believe in destiny. I think, but anyways, I think that sometimes we expect our value to decrease or increase or decrease depending on what we do, and that's not always the case, because again, that's something that we can't control. A quote that I kind of pieced together from other people saying stuff. I kind of pieced together the quote that, you cannot control how people are going to react to the way you act, but you can control the way you react to the way others act.
Yeah.
And that might sound like a double entendre, but look, you cannot control how other people are going to react to you. Flat out. You have no control over that. But what you do have control over is how you choose to react to them.
Yourself.
Right. How you choose to react to yourself, how you choose to react to them. And the commonality is in this world that you're very often not going to be, it's not really always going to make sense how people react to you. It's more than often you're going to be like, why are they, I always say that you're perfect until you do something wrong. Once you do something wrong, you're finished. You're through. Everyone demonizes you.
Sure.
Everyone makes you seem like a monster the moment you do something bad or at all. And it's just interesting because I'm like, if someone's a great person all their life and then they make this big mistake, right? Their career is ruined, their job's ruined, all that stuff. It's like, does that make them a bad person because they made a mistake that we've all maybe made a ton of times, but because they were on such a high pedestal, now they're falling even more than they should be? And I think that's where I'm like, that's just not fair to them. And I know that I always talk about life not being fair, but that's one of those things where it's like, that's on us. That's on us, the people that are judging them, where we're like, how can we possibly have a proper judgment over this person that's making a mistake? Right, that's making a mistake we've made day in and day out. And it's like, I don't think we should be shamed for our mistakes. I don't think our mistakes should be something that's like framed up on a wall for everyone to stare out and make fun of us. Our mistakes are something that, like you said, everyone makes them. We make them all the time. And they're not for something for the rest of the world to throw back in our face when the time is right. No one should be trying to capitalize on our failures, but the reality of the world is someone is going to capitalize on it.
Yeah, you can't control how other people are going to act, like you said before.
Right.
Like, somebody on a pedestal makes a mistake. You could be like, oh, everybody has made a mistake. Other people, not so much. They'd be like, oh, why did he do that? How did he do that?
Right. They make you out to be the monster for being human. That's the reality is now you're the monster because you decided to be human for a second.
And that's the crazy thing.
Right. It's like, I feel like when, with celebrities, they're supernatural. We almost view them as in the supernatural realm.
Yeah.
They have the money, they have the fame, they have the power to do so much stuff. And we here are the commoners, are we're not the supernatural. We're normal. So what we do when we fail, it's normal. Oh, you're just human. It's normal for you to fail. When they do it, it's catastrophic because it destroys our view of who they are, and it makes them human. It's like we don't want to see that they're human.
We forget who they are
right,
at the same time.
Right.
Like, they're just like us. They breathe like we do.
Right. We forget that they were once teenagers. They were once kids.
Exactly.
They still are kids. They still are people that are just trying to learn in a world that is not always conducive to learning. A world that wants to teach us lessons and show us the beauty, but also the pain of existence and life. And it's like, we have to realize we're all, at the beginning, we started the same, and we're all going to die at some point. And it's not, you might say, oh, you're only famous after you die, but it's like, or you're only really loved after you die, or whatever. We all start the same, we all end the same. We are born, and then we die.
Yeah.
And there's no escaping that. And that's, I think, the thing that we all have to realize. Look, we're all human, we're all the same. Not literally, but we're all human, and that's what should unite us, not differentiate us, so much so that we're torn apart and split apart in so many aspects of our life. In government and politics and in music and fashion, all these things that we're torn apart when we should be closer together. And I don't really get what the deal with that is.
Yeah, well said.
But I also recognize that we need people such as celebrities because we look up to them. People look up to their favorite football stars or basketball stars or whatever.
Yeah.
We look up to actors. We use them for inspiration and music. I have my own muses. I have people in that quote unquote supernatural realm that I look up to. And I think that's necessary. It's always good to have someone to look up to. I believe it was in a speech that Matthew McConaughey gave one time. I believe it was at it might have been the Oscars or Golden Globes, don't remember which, but he gave a speech where he was like, you need something to look up to look forward to, and to look back to. You look back on the person you were yesterday, you look forward to the person you will be tomorrow, and you look back on the person you were yesterday, you look forward to the people around you, and you look up to the person you will be tomorrow. Right? Yeah, that's the three things that you should always look forward to. You should look forward to your family. You should look forward to your friends, the time you have with them. You should look back on the mistakes that you made, the success you made, and then you look up to the person you're going to be tomorrow. And obviously, with that, you have to put in action of being better tomorrow. I think it's important that never don't go to bed unless you are a better person today than you were yesterday. Don't be satisfied or content with your life unless you're a better person today than you were yesterday. And I get it. We all have bad days. Right. We all have bad days. Like I said, we mess up all the time. So don't take it as you are gonna. You always have to fight so hard to be the best, to be better. It's more that you should work. Everything that you do should be constantly working and showing that you can be a better person, that you want to be a better person, and that automatically will, in turn, make you a better person.
It's the little things too. It's as little as washing the dishes instead of procrastinating.
Yeah. Procrastinating.
As long as you did it, man.
Right. And procrastinating isn't going to get you anything, but at the same time, don't be like, oh my gosh, I haven't done it yet. I'm not a good person.
Then do it.
Right. As if I think as long as the thought is in your mind and it's something that you're like, hey, I'm going to get it done. I have this and this and this I need to get done right now. It's going to get done.
Anything you feel guilty of.
Right.
That means it's a good thing when you do it.
Right. But you also have to commit. You also have to be, instead of being like, oh, I didn't do it today, I'll do it tomorrow. Oh, I couldn't get it done, I'll just get it done later. Yes, but also don't let that be your default and don't let that be your excuse. You have to realize that there's not always going to be an opportunity to do it tomorrow. There's not always a tomorrow for some people, for a lot of people, for hundreds of thousands of people, there is not a tomorrow. So the privilege that we have of being, especially I think this country gives us that privilege of being able to say tomorrow. I believe the privilege of being able to say tomorrow is a privilege I take very dearly. Yes. The privilege of being able to say, hey, tomorrow we're going to go to the movies. When some people don't have the movies, some people don't have it tomorrow.
And we wish that wasn't the case.
Right.
Tomorrow for some people isn't promised, like in other countries going to war and stuff. We can say that. We could say, oh, tomorrow. We have to actually, think about what we're saying.
Right.
When we say tomorrow, people might not wake up tomorrow.
Right.
So you have the privilege to say tomorrow. You're going to, live till tomorrow. In the reality of it all.
Right. And then the reality is we don't know if we're going to wake up tomorrow.
Exactly.
We assume we will because, at the moment there's nothing in our circumstances that make us believe we won't. Yeah. Right now we're healthy, we're young, we live in America, we live in the suburbs or whatever.
We live for days and days
right.
and years and years and years.
Right. We're like, oh, why would we die now? Why would we go now? Well,
one day
it's gonna happen.
One day.
it's gonna happen, and that's when we're like, wow, it's not that we shouldn't look forward to tomorrow. It's not that we shouldn't say, oh, tomorrow we'll do it. Tomorrow we'll get this done.
Take advantage of today.
Right. It's not, don't always be looking to tomorrow when you still have today. When it's in the morning and you're like, tomorrow I get to do this. No. Think about what you can do today.
In the morning, you got all day.
Right.
You're talking about tomorrow.
You have a whole day of life that could change and evolve and all the stuff that just makes me wonder, why are we always, I think we get too focused on the future.
How about prepare for tomorrow?
Right. Prepare for tomorrow, live for today. I think especially at this time in our lives, we're too focused on the future.
Exactly.
People put college and
college and everything.
All that stuff, and it's just yeah, of course we should be ready for that, but also we're still here right now. we aren't in college right now.
Out of Thanksgiving, we haven't
Right.
even made it to Christmas.
We're still right here right now. Let's live and remain right here right now. You don't always have to be, doing the Bugs Bunny and just running through everything and
the stuff about college and whatnot. We have 24 hours in a day. 12 hours you probably have a free time, right? Not free time, but you could basically do whatever you want. All 12 hours is not going to take all the time of college, right? Like you could take 3 hours of college, focus on college. The rest, you could do you.
Right.
So you don't always have to worry about college or what is there to come.
Right. And I always feel like the anxiety that we might feel, the apprehension we might feel about the next day, what's going to happen next. Look, it's going to go away. People's always say, I don't love it when people use anxiety as an excuse to not do something, because I feel it is such an easy excuse to make, because what are we going to say about it? What are we going to say? Oh, you don't have anxiety? No. But I think it's overused. I think it's one that people exercise to its full extent, and I don't think it's always fair to blame anxiety or blame a mental mindset. No, because we create.
Are you trying to do anything?
Correct. Right.
Or are you just gonna say, "Oh, I have anxiety. I don't feel like doing it."
Right.
You're just gonna resort to that, or you're just gonna be like, "Let me at least try."
Right.
Think about the possible outcomes. Think about positive possible outcomes. Because anxiety, you're focused on, what the worst case scenario is basically. So if you would think about the positive, maybe you would be more towards to actually doing it.
Right. And it's one of those things where I'm like, when I'm tired, when I'm okay, for instance, when every once a month for my Marines group, we do a mandatory PT, and it's a pretty tough workout. It's some of the toughest workouts I've ever done. And we get through one thing, and we're like, oh my gosh, that was so tiring. And they were like, all right, we have this next to do. And everyone's like, ugh. That's when I'm like, look, we got it. This is what we got to get done. Let's get it done. The faster we get done, not necessarily the faster we're finished with the workout, but the better we are, and the better we're going to do on the next exercise. And people are like, well, how are you energetic when you're tired? It's like, I'm tired, but I know what I want. I know that I want to succeed at this. I know that I want to become a Marine. I know that I want to grow. So
in your head, you have to do this.
Right. It's
you can't not do it.
Right. It's like, how can I be okay with myself if I don't give it everything I have?
That's where the guilt comes in.
Correct.
When you go to lay down, oh, I should have done this. Oh, I should have done that.
Correct.
Maybe tomorrow. No, you had a chance.
The guilt is from knowing you didn't do everything you could.
Exactly.
And that's where I'm like, you have nothing to blame. You can't blame your anxiety. You can't blame the people around you. You have yourself to blame, because the only reason you feel guilty is because you did something wrong, or you didn't give it everything you could. And that's where it's just like, well, that's where you have something to work on. You have something to fix. It doesn't mean you're doomed. It just means, look, you didn't give it your all, but next time you can. Next time you will. And recognize that. If you're having a bad day and you're just realize, hey, I'm going to give it what I can give, but I know it's not going to be 100%. I know it's not going to be as good as last time, because I'm tired. And I've been up since whatever. Or I did this yesterday, and now I'm sore and tired. Yes, but don't allow that to be your scapegoat. Don't allow that to be the thing that keeps you back from achieving what you need to achieve. And it's all, this all changes from person to person. No one's the same when it comes to this stuff. But I wish that people didn't always just generalize everything.
Yeah, like they, I don't know, resort to excuses way too much.
Yes.
Like there's a saying, it's kind of funny, but excuses are like, buttholes. You heard that before? Everyone has them and they all stink.
Yeah.
So,
Yep. Excuses are lies. They don't.
Excuses are just ways to get out of stuff.
Right.
I mean, get it, I had a long day. If you have a long day, relax. If you don't feel guilty about it, because, like, if you lie to yourself, you would feel that.
Yes.
If you make an excuse, you would feel that you just lied to yourself.
Yes.
Especially a bad excuse. But if you, have a genuine excuse, I feel like you wouldn't feel as guilty.
Right. You would know that that's the real, actual reason you can't do something. Like you said, yeah, if you have a long day, fine. Take a break. No one's asking you to, kill yourself just to get something done, but recognize if you haven't done it all that you could today, then you keep going.
Then later, if you feel like you were, oh, why'd I make that excuse? You feel guilty. Right. Maybe you shouldn't have lied to yourself.
Right. It's it's just, we can't allow the excuses that we hear other people say, we can't allow that to get in our mind to be like, oh, well, maybe I can do that. No. Realize that there are certain circumstances where, yes, you might have a legitimate reason for not being able to do something. And in that case, fine. Then tell the person in charge, hey, I can't do this. I simply just need to take a break for today. I've done all I can today. I need to rest. And that is okay. I want all of you guys to be able to take a rest and take a break. Heaven knows I don't take enough breaks. I try and do everything there is to do, and then I realize, oh my goodness, I'm running myself into the ground. And that's where I got to just slow down and take a break and realize, there is a sanctity in being at rest. I think, I'm going to relate this to, your heart rate. When you're stressed, your heart rate's high. When you're relaxed, your heart rate is low.
Yeah.
Don't let the heart rate of your life stay in that stressed state. Don't allow, I would say your heart rate is like the speed at which things are happening.
Yeah.
Allow that to waver, just like when you're asleep, your heart rate goes down to like 50 beats per minute because your body's resting. Well, yes, I think there are times where it's okay for the heart rate of your life to be at 50 beats per minute. But also realize there are some times where your heart rate is going to be at, 200 beats per minute because you're busy, things are happening, you're in that state of, when you're in the states of transition from being a student in high school to being a college kid or entering the workforce in the military, that's when your heart rate's going to be high. The heartbeat of your life is going to be, up in the sky because everything's happening very quickly. But also realize that it's okay to have that low heart rate. It's okay to have times and days where it feels slow. It's okay to be tired. It's okay to realize you need a break, realize you're doing all that you can do, and sometimes it's not going to feel like enough. Sometimes it's simply going to feel like you're not doing enough. But I promise you, as restless as we all are as humans, there is a sanctity to being at rest. And I think that's something we all need to recognize, that, when people text us, the first thing we need to do isn't not always to respond right back. When people say, hey, are you going to be there? You don't always have to know the answer. It's not always great to know the answer to everything right then. Sometimes we do need to think about it. I think that oftentimes we feel the world is going to move without us too fast, and we don't want to miss the train.
Yeah, even when you know the answer, it's still not certain.
Right. Don't always just snap an answer back because you think they need it or you feel you need it. Sometimes you just have to be like, hey, you know what? I'm not sure. I'll get back to you on that. I'm not sure where my life is going to be at that moment. Right. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I always,
I always say we'll see.
Right, because I'm like, I don't know. Something could change. I never want to say absolutely I'll do that. No, I'm always like, I'll get back to you. I'll let me figure this out. Let me check my schedule.
Because then they're gonna be the ones that's gonna cancel.
Right. And it's also there's you should also not always be too available, because then people are gonna use you for your time. Realize that it's okay to sometimes be like, sometimes it's okay to be completely free and be like, oh no,
go ahead.
We'll see. Well, we'll see if I'll be there. I think the less time you have available makes your time more valuable. The less time that you always have to be around with other people is what makes your time really valuable, and what should make people appreciate your time, I think. But again, not all people are great like that. It's all these feelings of us, especially as teenagers, all the feelings that we feel, we just have to realize that this too will pass.
Yeah.
All of this, the anger of being a teenager, the anxiety, the hurt, the heartbreak.
I have a saying. I don't know if I made it up or not, but I made it myself, actually. at the end of the day, it's night.
Right.
And it may sound stupid, you know?
But it's
But literally,
real. It's
at
real.
the end of the day,
Yes.
it's night.
The worries of yesterday are gone. And you just have to be like, all right, well, hope there's tomorrow. I'm going to prepare for tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I'll tackle what tomorrow gives me. That's great. That's amazing, man. But it's real. It's real. They're at the end of the day, it's night.
Yeah, every time I say that, like, everybody, laughs because they know
Right.
it's like, oh, what?
Right, because it's one of those things that you don't think about. And they're
Well,
like,
obviously,
Right. But it's so
not.
real.
They think.
Yeah, it's so real. It's there. All the stuff that we're worrying about. Like I said, this too will pass. This too will go away. You will feel better. If you're sick, you're gonna heal. If you broke your arm, it's gonna heal. Mm-hmm. You just have to believe that it's not all gonna haunt you for the rest of your life. This too shall pass. I think that should just be a mantra people say to themselves in the morning.
And you ask yourself also, like, will this matter? Will this matter in the future? Will this matter in 5 years? Will this matter in, you can go less. Will this matter in a couple months?
Right.
Will
this matter even tomorrow?
And if it is, like, maybe, handle it.
Right.
But if it isn't, who cares?
Right. It's
just let it happen.
Exactly.
Just let it happen.
Exactly. We spend too much time trying to fix what doesn't need to be fixed, trying to solve problems that aren't for us to solve. Mm-hmm, exactly. Sometimes problems are left to the next person to solve it.
And we all do it. Like, nobody's perfect.
Right. And some people do it because they need to feel validated, because they need to feel important. I am guilty of sometimes being like, oh, I need to fix this problem. I need to fix this. And I realized, you know what? Maybe I can just take a break.
Because in the moment, you're not like, you're not thinking. I mean,
right.
You're thinking, but you're not asking yourself these questions in the moment.
Right.
You're just, instinct.
Right. And instinct is
doing whatever you need to do to solve problems.
Right.
It's human nature.
Right. I think that sometimes, like I said, I think we all need to take a big step back from our lives sometimes. And we just need to look at everything that happens, where we fit into everything. We need to look at the people in our lives, how they affect us, how they hurt us, how they help us. Do they make us filled with joy, or do they make us angry?
Yeah.
We have to look at all that stuff and realize, okay, is what my life looking like right now, is that where I want to be? Is that what society wants me to be? Is that what society's trying to push me to be?
And it doesn't have to be rushed,
Right. It's
take your time.
Why do we feel the necessity to rush through everything in our lives?
That's where stress comes into play.
Yeah, that's where that heartbeat comes into play. And it just, I mean, sometimes I feel like time stands still. And, sometimes you can literally feel the heartbeat in your lives. And I don't think it's something that we even realize. But sometimes that heartbeat is there. And when you hear that, that's when you need to recognize it and realize, do I want that heartbeat to be fast, or do I want it to slow down?
Slow down. Take your time.
9 out of 10 times that heartbeat should not be, double time. It should be simple and static.
Well said.
Life doesn't need to run on a high-speed rail. The train is not going to leave without you, as long as you're willing to face what's on it. The people in your life are here to help you and are here to love you, as long as you're willing to accept it. The opportunities given to you are yours, as long as you're willing to work for them. Life is not here to beat you down. I know that might be shocking to you. Life probably has beat you down, but that's not what it's here for. Yeah. It's here to grow, for you to grow. It's here for you to change. It's here for you to live. And that is the most important of all. Is that in the midst of all the pain and all the heartache and everything we might feel, life was made for us to live. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening in to the Ireland podcast today. David Ennis, thank you again for coming on for yet again. It's awesome always to have you on. Just remember, guys, let the heartbeats of your life slow down sometimes. Realize that your value is it's what you make it to be. It's what you want it to be. Not other people cannot confirm or validate your value. It's only you and God that can do that.
And remember, the guy upstairs, whether you know it or not, he's testing you.
Oh, yeah. Always.
He's testing.
Always. Well, thank you all so much for listening, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. Of course, you can find the Arlen Podcast on all your normal podcasting sites, Apple Podcast, Spotify, Amazon Podcast. There's plenty more. You can all find it, or you can find us on Instagram at Arlen Podcast. Shout out to Sean Carr just for delivering some awesome photography for us. It's also awesome to have him joining in with us. Thank you all so much. We hope you have a wonderful day.
Yeah, see you.